For 60 years, Detroit's off-road engineers and the Western automotive press that covered them told the world that mechanical traction control was the only honest solution to off-road physics. A locking differential could feel the ground the way metal always has, through resistance, through torque, through the brute logic of gears that had been tested on every terrain from the Mojave to the Alaskan tundra. Software, they said, was an intervention layer, a digital approximation of what steel and iron had already solved. The Ford F-150 Raptor proved them right. A $109,145 machine, 700 supercharged horsepower. The undisputed icon of American off-road authority, built entirely on the belief that mechanical engineering tradition was the ceiling of what was possible. BYD U8 just proved every word of it wrong. Here's the number that ends the argument. BYD's 4-motor independent torque vectoring system adjusts per-wheel torque in under 1 millisecond. The Ford Raptor R's electronic locking rear differential. The Dana M220, Ford's most advanced mechanical traction system, needs 300 to 500 milliseconds to detect wheel slip and engage. That is a 300 to 500 times gap, not a tuning gap, not an iteration gap, a physics gap, the kind that cannot be closed by any mechanical upgrade, any new alloy, any improved actuator design. This is not just an engineering story. This is a supply chain story, a factory job story, a Detroit story. The locking differential was not born in a boardroom. It was born in a war. The Jeep Willys MB, fielded by the U.S. Army in 1941, introduced the world to a simple mechanical truth. If you could lock both wheels on an axle to rotate at the same speed, regardless of traction conditions, you could move through terrain that would stop any conventional vehicle. It worked in the mud of Normandy. It worked in the volcanic ash of the Pacific. It worked so reliably on conditions so extreme that the entire post-war American automotive industry accepted it as engineering orthodoxy. Dana Incorporated began supplying axle assemblies to Ford in the 1950s. For the next 7 decades, every iteration of the American off-road truck refined the same core architecture: a driven axle, a differential gear set, and a locking mechanism, first mechanical, then electronic, then computer-assisted. Each generation got faster. The Dana M220 on the 2025 Raptor R locks in roughly 300 to 500 milliseconds, a fraction of what its 1970s predecessor needed. Detroit called this progress, and for 60 years it was. The blind spot was structural. The entire engineering logic of the locking differential is built on a sequence: detect wheel slip first, then respond. You cannot lock a differential preemptively without knowing which wheel needs it. The mechanical system has no choice but to wait for the problem to appear before solving it. For 3 generations of American truck buyers, Baja racers, Moab crawlers, Montana ranch hands, that latency was invisible. The terrain was forgiving enough, the speed slow enough that 300 milliseconds felt like instant response. Then the loads got heavier, the speeds got higher, the trailers got longer, and a team in Shenzhen started asking a question that no one in Detroit had thought to ask. What if you never needed to detect slip at all? Every mechanical traction system ever built shares the same fundamental constraint: it cannot act on a problem it has not yet detected. The Dana M220's electronic locking rear differential monitors wheel speed differential through sensors. When one wheel begins to spin faster than the other, the signature of slip the system registers, the event sends a signal to the actuator and engages the lock. That sequence from detection to engagement takes 300 to 500 milliseconds under real-world conditions. This is not a design failure. It is the physical cost of the detect-then-respond architecture. You cannot make a mechanical actuator move before it receives a signal. You cannot send a signal before the sensor registers an event. You cannot register an event before the event occurs. BYD's EP4 platform eliminates the sequence entirely. 4 independent IPM motors, one per wheel. No mechanical linkage between them. Receive torque commands from the vehicle control unit at a cycle rate that produces effective response latency under 1 millisecond. The system does not wait for slip. It models traction conditions continuously and redistributes torque preemptively before the wheel loses grip. The command goes out before the problem is visible. At 70 miles per hour on a Moab trail where loose shale meets hardpack, the difference between 1 millisecond and 300 milliseconds is the difference between a course correction the driver never feels and a recovery the driver has 0.3 seconds to execute manually. That 299 millisecond gap is not a specification advantage. It is a safety category boundary. The Ford Raptor R's 700 horsepower Predator V8 delivers its output through a transfer case, 2 drive shafts, 2 axle housings, 2 differential gear sets, and 2 locking mechanisms before it reaches the wheels. Each component in that chain is a failure point. Each connection is a point of power loss through mechanical friction. The engineering achievement of making that system reliable enough to haul 8,200 pounds through a Baja stage at sustained speed is genuinely remarkable, and it is also the ceiling of what that architecture can deliver. BYD U8's EP4 platform has no drive shaft, no transfer case, no axle housing. Each of its 4 220 kilowatt IPM motors connects directly to its wheel through a single-speed fixed-ratio reduction gear. The mechanical chain between power source and contact patch has been reduced to its minimum possible length. The result, 100 horsepower and 1,500 newton-meters of total system torque, with no mechanical differential to fail, no transfer case to seize, no drive shaft to shear under load. The redundancy arithmetic matters. If one BYD motor fails completely, the system continues operating on 3 motors, 660 kilowatts, approximately 880 horsepower. That is still 180 horsepower, more than a fully functioning Raptor R. If the Raptor R's rear differential fails under load during a trailer extraction in northern Minnesota at minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit, a scenario documented repeatedly in Ford owner forums, the truck's rear traction capability is compromised entirely until the unit is replaced. There is no graceful degradation. There is no partial power fallback. There is a broken truck in a field. There is one capability of the BYD U8 that no mechanical upgrade to the Ford Raptor R can replicate, not in the next model year, not in the next decade, not under any iteration of the locking differential architecture. It is the tank turn, a zero-radius pivot executed by counter-rotating the left and right motor groups simultaneously. Left wheels reverse, right wheels drive forward. The vehicle rotates around its own center point. This is not a software feature. It is a geometric consequence of having 4 independently controlled power sources with no mechanical coupling between the left and right sides of the drivetrain. A locking differential, by definition, connects left and right wheels through a shared axle. You cannot drive one side forward and the other side backward through the same mechanical link. The Dana M220 cannot execute a tank turn. No conventional differential-based drivetrain, open, limited slip, or locking can execute a tank turn. The minimum turning radius of the Ford F-150 Raptor R is 24.7 feet. The turning radius of the BYD U8 in tank turn mode is 0 feet. In a trail recovery scenario in the Oregon Cascades, a narrow forest road, a fallen tree blocking the path, switchback terrain with no room to execute a conventional K-turn. The difference between a zero-radius pivot and a 24.7-foot turning radius is the difference between driving out and calling for extraction. That is not a convenience gap. That is a capability boundary that the Raptor R's architecture cannot cross. The Ford F-150 Raptor R is not a failure of ambition. It is a masterpiece of execution within a constrained architecture. And that distinction matters because it explains precisely why the threat is existential rather than competitive. Ford performance engineers spent 15 years refining the Raptor franchise into the highest margin product line in the company's portfolio. The Fox Live Valve suspension system reads terrain inputs at 500 times per second and adjusts damping in real time. The 5.2-liter Predator V8 delivers 640 pound-feet of torque with an analog throttle response that no electric motor has yet replicated at low-speed crawling conditions. The chassis is Baja-proven at sustained race speeds. The reliability record across the North American truck-owning demographic is essentially uncontested. At $109,145, the Raptor R commands a premium that Ford's internal data suggests its buyers pay without negotiation, because for its intended use case, there has been no credible alternative. That calculus changes the moment the off-road community internalizes three numbers: 300 milliseconds, 24.7 feet, and 0. When those figures circulate through the truck talk ecosystem, through overlanding forums, through the YouTube channels that the Raptor demographic actually watches, the Raptor R's $109,145 price tag stops being a premium for unmatched capability and starts being a premium for a platform that cannot perform a tank turn. The Raptor franchise generated an estimated $5.2 billion in revenue for Ford in fiscal year 2025. That revenue is not at risk from BYD U8 direct import. 100% tariffs make that vehicle commercially non-viable in the American market. The revenue is at risk from the conversation those numbers start. The Chevrolet Silverado ZR 2 Bison occupies the same structural position at a lower price point. Its Multimatic DSSV dampers and factory-installed Eaton locker represent genuine engineering achievements, and they share the same detect-then-respond architecture as the Dana M220. At $72,000, the ZR2 Bison is priced as a capability alternative to the Raptor R. It is not an alternative to the EP4 platform. Neither vehicle is. The closest American approximation is the Rivian R1T in quad motor configuration. Rivian's per-wheel torque response latency runs approximately 5 milliseconds, 5 times slower than the BYD U8, but 60 to 100 times faster than any mechanical locking differential. The R1T can execute a tank turn. It cannot match BYD's 1,100 horsepower at 7,716 pounds, and its off-road software calibration trails BYD's accumulated validation data by an estimated 3 to 4 development cycles. But the R1T is road-legal tariff-exempt and already in American driveways. It is the proof of concept that makes the BYD architecture undeniable to a domestic audience, and it is the vehicle that absorbs Raptor R demand when that demographic accepts that software-defined torque is not a compromise. It is the replacement. The supply chain story behind the BYD EP4 platform is not a story about electric vehicles. It is a story about rare earth dependency, and it runs directly through the geology of Inner Mongolia. Each of BYD U8's 4 IPM motors requires neodymium and dysprosium magnets to generate the magnetic field density that makes high torque, low latency response possible. China controls approximately 85% of global rare earth processing capacity. A 4-motor architecture requires 4 times the rare earth magnet volume of a single-motor EV. Every truck buyer in America who migrates from a mechanical locking differential to a quad-motor platform increases the United States' structural dependency on Chinese rare earth supply chains, regardless of whether the vehicle itself is manufactured in Shenzhen or in Normal, Illinois. The architecture is the dependency. The tariff does not change the geology. Dana Incorporated reported $8.9 billion in revenue for fiscal year 2024. Its 37,000 employees are concentrated in Michigan, Ohio, and Indiana, the geographic core of the American manufacturing belt, in 3 of the most contested swing states in the national electoral map. Dana's business model is built on the mechanical drivetrain axle, assemblies differential housings, driveshafts transfer cases. Every vehicle that eliminates those components eliminates Dana's addressable market. The company's stock declined 18% quarter-over-quarter in early 2026, while Rivian, which runs the closest domestic approximation of the EP4 architecture, gained 34% year-to-date. The market is already pricing the architectural transition. Dana's workforce has not yet been told what the market already knows. The 100% tariff on Chinese manufactured vehicles blocks BYD U8 from American showrooms. It does not block BYD's patents from being studied by Rivian Canoo and Ford's own advanced vehicle research team. It does not block the engineers who built the EP4 platform from publishing technical papers in SAE International and IEEE transactions on vehicular technology. It does not block General Motors from independently developing its Ultifi software platform toward the same torque vectoring architecture at a slower development pace. The tariff is a market access barrier, not a knowledge barrier. And in the engineering domain, knowledge is the only barrier that matters. What happens next depends not on tariffs, but on whether American engineering culture can move faster than it has in the last 40 years. The Ford F-150 Raptor R is a magnificent machine built on the final iteration of a 60-year platform. BYD U8 is the first production truck built on the architecture that replaces it. Those are not competing opinions. They are sequential facts. Detroit did not fail to see this coming because its engineers lacked ability. Dana's axle team's Ford Performance's chassis engineers GM's powertrain division. These are among the most competent mechanical engineering organizations in the world. They failed to see it coming because the entire institutional framework of the American automotive industry was built to optimize an existing answer, not to question whether the question had changed. For 60 years, the question was, how do we make the locking differential faster, stronger, more reliable? BYD asked a different question. What if the locking differential is the wrong unit of analysis entirely? That question has now been answered in production hardware at scale in a vehicle you can buy today, not in a concept car, not in a lab demonstration, not in a press release. The EP4 architecture exists. The tank turn footage is public. The latency numbers are published. The gap between 1 millisecond and 300 milliseconds does not close because an American company files a counter patent. It closes when American engineers rebuild their platform assumptions from the ground up, and that process, if it begins today, will take the better part of a decade. The question is not whether less than 1 millisecond torque vectoring outperforms a 300 millisecond mechanical locking differential. The data settled that question before this video started. The question is whether Detroit will rebuild its engineering identity around software-defined platforms before the next architectural disruption arrives, or whether it will still be explaining the mechanical advantages of the Dana M220 when the architecture after EP4 makes this conversation look like the one American engineers were having about carburetors in 1985. History does not pause for the unprepared. It simply records who was ready.